understand what this is, we first need to talk about something that happens before this particular tool is needed. This is the working end of a spinning wheel. When I was younger, I always wondered how the yarn wrapped around that big wheel and then got twisted onto the spindle, and I could never figure it out. It was only when I got older that I understood that that spinning wheel was just the power arm of the operating system. So what happened is the large wheel is connected to this whirl, this driver, with a long piece of string. And when the spinster, and the spinster is somebody who actually does the spinning, in the early 1800s, we were still a sustainment farm, sustainment family, and everybody had to do the work at home. So everyone contributed, male, female, children, they all spun on the spinning wheel, and they were all spinsters. The spinster would reach back and give a little spin on the large wheel, and that spun this. And the difference in circumference between the large wheel and this small wheel worked out to about 200 revolutions. So one revolution of the big wheel turned this wheel 200 times. This larger wheel is called an accelerator, and it spun one revolution per one revolution of this whirl, and this, being a larger circumference, turned this whirl more often than that. So the proportionalities work out to one revolution of the great wheel turn the spindle 400 times. And that is what twisted the yarn and put it onto the spindle. So once the spindle was full of yarn, it needed to be taken off and put onto something else. Sometimes it was rolled up into a ball called a skein, but sometimes it was just a large circle twisted and tied into a knot called a hank. Now the hank was used when the spinster was then going to bring all of the yarn to a weaver. And the weaver wanted all of the hanks being the same length. So in order to do that, they used the Niddy Noddy. And that's what this is. So what they were able to do was take the yarn from the spindle, wrap it in a weaving fashion, and then they counted, depending on how long the hank had to be, they counted X amount of threads. So in this case, it was 10 times 4, so there was 40 lengths of a little over a foot. So say this was 50 feet in length. So they would take this, take it off, tie it into a knot, set it aside, and do another one. And then when they had enough to go across the width of the weaver's loom, they brought it to the weaver, and he made the material for them. This could have been wool, which came from sheep. It could have been linen, which came from the flax plant. Those are the only two that we did here. Further south, they were able to weave cotton. When you visit the museum, you'll find the Niddy Noddies next to the spinning wheels on the museum floor. The Niddy Noddy.